Hi, welcome back to the Harpreet Singh Show. This is Tania's Truth Talk. Today we have a very interesting guest, and it's kind of a little bit of a controversial topic. Her name is Tracy Joy. She is an NLP practitioner. So Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Can you explain to the viewers, what does NLP stand for?
NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Okay.
And Neuro-Linguistic Programming is it's a process of looking at how people work with their memories.
Okay, so a lot of people that suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder get this done. And you know, me, that I have an organization that rescues women from prostitution, I can say that the statistics are actually 14 to 17% higher that a prostituted person would be diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, even more so than a prisoner of war on the front lines of combat. So this is very traumatizing. You're dealing with some traumatic things.
We're dealing with huge issues. My first post-traumatic stress disorder client, her eyes rolled into the back of her head, her shoulder would twitch, and her hands would like splay, and her mouth would open, and she would pull and tug at herself, and she was having a flashback.
Yes, you know, I can personally relate to that. I was diagnosed with severe post-traumatic stress disorder because I'm a former prostituted person and a domestic violence victim, and I can say that that's true. It is very traumatic, and things can trigger it, such as with me, I remember it was a smell of leather seats, or a certain vision, or even driving down the highway, a certain song comes on the radio, and it can cause these triggers which all of a sudden can just make you literally go crazy. Yeah. And so you're helping people now.
I'm helping people. Post-traumatic stress, apparently there is no cure out there for post-traumatic stress, and I'm not supposed to even call what I do a cure. Okay. But I find that 2 to 3 sessions, people come in for 2.5, 3 hours, maybe even up to 5 hours at one sitting.
Yes. And
I work with them using things like hypnotic language and things like visualization, right, and talking to them and mirroring their body image and making them really relax so that they can go back to the original past painful memory and change it. Change how they feel about it, or their meaning that they made about that experience.
Okay, so I had seen you before, and I remember I had I'd been to many doctors trying to get cured for my post-traumatic stress disorder, and at this point I was just willing to try anything. I had nothing left to lose. It was just so difficult to live with, and you and I got into contact, and I will be honest, when I came to see you, I was like, this is kind of crazy, because you had me doing all these different eye movements. You were triggering my post-trauma like 60 times in one session, and I wanted to just run right out of there. And but this is a certain technique that you do that people can come and see you and think, this girl's crazy. Like, what is she getting me to do? But it's, explain what it is that you do in the session.
Okay, so a lot of times I will mirror a person's body language. So exactly how they are sitting, I will sit. And and even just the way their chin is moving, where their chin is, how they're breathing, I will do exactly as they're doing so that I can make them feel comfortable. So it's like I would say you're being like gazelle and I'm being gazelle-like. I'm not trying to be a lion.
Okay, yes.
And so that's what I'm doing. And then as you get more comfortable, so you sit there for about an hour and you tell me things about your life and things that are not working as well as you'd like them to. Okay. And then what I do is I'm picking out specific words. I'm watching your eye movements because all of your painful memories line up on the right-hand side of your face. So,
oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you imagine something simple, like even your kitchen garbage right now.
Okay.
You can imagine, we're here in a studio, you
Yes.
can imagine your kitchen garbage. Now if you close your eyes, where do you hold that picture in space?
Oh, okay.
So you actually hold it in space.
It's almost like if if you're talking to someone, and you can watch body language, and I know with my kids I can tell they're lying because I'll ask them a question and then they'll look up.
Yeah, they're
and I go, why are you looking up? Because you're thinking about what you're going to say because you're lying, right? So it's kind of like you're studying the body language.
I'm studying their body language, but I'm studying when they're uncomfortable. I'm studying what's triggering it and what's not triggering it, and how can I make them feel more comfortable and at ease to go back to that painful situation.
Okay.
But when they talk about what they want, that painful situation comes up, and their eyes will go up and to the right in this space because it's painful.
Yes.
So I'm watching where it goes, where their eyes go, and their eyes will tell me. And then what I'll do is I'll take them back to where that point is. I'll have them move their eyes to that spot.
And a lot of people from different faiths seem to have issues with neuro-linguistic programming because they think it's hypnosis, but it's not.
It is and it isn't.
Okay.
Okay, so we use something called hypnotic languaging. Hypnosis is when you use a word patterning over and over and over again, and it makes the person feel more comfortable and more relaxed and puts them closer and closer to that sleep state or almost dream state.
Yes.
With neuro-linguistic programming, we just want people to be relaxed. We want them to be very, very comfortable. So we use a little bit of that languaging, but we don't want you to go into a trance where we're directing you.
That's right.
We want you to direct where we're going.
So you want to make them relax a little bit because you need them relaxed because you're going back and you're triggering this trauma like 60 times. So is that basically to it's like almost like a recompartmentalization that you're putting the memory in a different part of the brain through eye movement.
We're moving it to actually a different where your brain accesses it from a different side of the brain, where it has your past memories as opposed to your future memories.
Yes.
And
now, I remember when I had the first session with you, it was painful to some degree because you're working with a lot of women that are prostituted. I'm sending you women, and these women are they've got their gloves up, and it's really hard for them to be able to talk about this to a complete stranger that you don't know, and have this horrible memory triggered like 60 times. It was difficult for me when I saw you. I mean, that was quite the session.
When you came in, I don't know if you remember this, but when you came in, a lot of the time, I didn't even ask you about the specifics. I didn't ask you to give me the details.
You didn't.
And so a lot of it could happen just by me being okay with who you were in that room and saying everything that you're feeling is okay and I'll feel it with you.
I remember you saying that, and it was really interesting because you had me stepping on different parts of the floor, and I remember growing up, one of my traumas was something that had happened with my father. So you actually put me in my father's place and you did some role reversing, and I was starting to think, I just want to run out of this office because this lady's just off her rockers, literally, because I'd never experienced something like that. And you had told me, you said, give it about 6 weeks after and you're going to notice a difference. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And I did, and I can honestly say publicly that there's apparently no cure for post-traumatic stress disorder. But since I have seen you and had the last session was about 1.5 years ago, I have not had a bout. And I've had like just the smell of leather would trigger it, because when I was 12 years old, I was kidnapped and I was raped and my innocence was taken, and it happened in the back of a semi. Okay, so the smell of the leather or diesel would trigger my post-trauma, and I would go cuckoo. I would go insane. It was just horrible flashbacks. And I can go and sit in a leather truck or pump diesel, and it doesn't trigger me anymore. And I don't know what it is that you did. At first I thought it was kind of weird, but it worked.
Well, the thing is that when you experience a trauma, you are overrun with feelings. You're overrun with experiences, and your body takes in so much information. And so all the way around you, whatever you experience, if you experience it just the slightest as you are going on in life, it triggers that whole memory and that whole pain.
Let's get back into some of those triggers. We're just going to take a commercial break because I want to save, this is getting good, about what we're going to get into. So we're sitting here with Tracy Joy, and she's brought me a lot of joy since I've seen her, let me tell you. She's a neuro-linguistic practitioner. So come back after the commercial break and find out more about it. You're watching Tania's Truth Talk on the Harpreet Singh Show.